And I'll give
Correct.
you an even more cataclysmic example of government narratives. And it was very shocking for me because I was very fond of my grandfather, who was in Austria just before Hitler. And he saw Hitler rising and thought, bloody hell, it's not a very good bloke, this chap Hitler. So he contacted a man called Lord Bortle in Britain, who was chairman of Wigan Steel, a paper company. And my grandfather said, I think this bloke Hitler is dangerous. If it gets bad, could you give me a job? And Lord Bortle said, yes. Lord Bortle said, we don't know what you're talking about. Never heard of this Hitler bloke because it was a long time before the war. But he said, of course, you can have a job. So the paper mill workers tipped off my grandfather and said they'd heard the Gestapo were going to arrest him the next day. So he got on the train into Germany, and from Germany to Holland and Holland to the UK, and Nazi permits to travel. And in the UK, he joined British military intelligence with his cousin, who was already in British military intelligence, and his cousin's name was Sir Lewis Namier. Both those two men worked their backsides off in the British war effort in British military intelligence against Hitler. They both died, not knowing, which I discovered only a couple of years ago by a casual search on the internet, that Britain and America were financing Hitler. Now, if you look it
Yeah.
up, anybody can Google it. They'll discover that Prescott Bush, George Bush's granddad, was running a bank called Union Bank of America, I think it was called, and they were selling gold and giving it to the Nazis, to the architects of Nazism. And in Britain, you had Montague Norman, chairman of the Bank of England, governor of the Bank of England, doing a similar thing. Now, that really shook me up to think that my grandfather, who I was very, very fond of, thought he was doing a great job for the world, not knowing what I discovered, many, many years later, just by a casual search on the internet. That shows